Hello students, in today's class we'll be talking about assignment statement and how to do the stepwise execution of the program. We will not be covering entire assignment statement but certain technical aspects of this statement that will further strengthen your knowledge about the assignment statement. So far we have learned that in C program we have the statements like declarative statement, assignment statement, conditional statement, iterative statement, unconditional statement, and input-output statement. C program is a set of statements, and if we know the syntax of writing these statements, we can easily write the C program. There are certain other concepts that are related to these statements, and unless you have the clear-cut understanding of those concepts, you will be facing difficulties in writing your programs and debugging the programs and developing a good programming logic. Let us now see assignment statement. In previous classes we have seen the syntax of the assignment statement is variable equal to expression, where variable is a memory location and expression is any expression, but we'll be focusing on the arithmetic expression mainly. And then there's a terminator. This statement is called as an assignment statement because it uses a equal to operator, and equal to operator is used for assigning a value to a variable. Now I have two examples of the assignment statements here. Suppose I have a variable a in which I am assigning the value of this expression, that is b plus c minus k, where b, c and k are also memory locations. Now in another expression I am assigning in the value a value L which will be computed by the CPU from the right hand side of this expression, that is this arithmetic expression, that is h minus k divided by 2. 2 is a constant and h and k are variables. In fact, I assume that I have declared these variables and I have assigned relevant values to these variables, or I have inputted these variables from the keyboard. Now we have certain concepts related with the expressions, like what is an operator. Operator is a symbol that designates an operation. For example, we have a plus symbol to designate addition, minus symbol to designate subtraction, and then this simple slash to designate division. So operator is a symbol which designates an operation. Now what is an operand? Operand is the argument on which the operation is performed. For example, the plus operation here will be performed between b and c. So b and c are arguments or operands. Now what is an expression? Expression is a combination of operators and operands according to the rules of the syntax. So we have to follow the syntax rules strictly, or we will get compilation errors. For that we should know the syntax in a 100% correct way, otherwise it will be problems for writing such expressions. Now I'll give some more clarifications here. If you see this assignment statement, it has got two parts. One is a LHS part and one is a RHS part. It is strictly guided by the syntax that LHS part should be a single variable. Though in mathematics it's not like that, but in C you have to write it as a single variable, and RHS part has to be an expression or a value. Now this expression actually will be computed by the CPU and the operations will be done in the ALU and the result will be assigned to the A. The programmer has to write this statement simply. He need not to worry how the CPU will perform this operation, but he is giving an instruction to the processor that I need you to calculate the RHS of this expression, and whatever value will be generated should be assigned to the memory location that is in the left. That is, in this case, B and C will be added in the ALU, and the result will be generated. That result will be used, and K will be subtracted from that result, and then the answer will be assigned to A. Similarly here, the K will be divided with 2, and then next that value what is generated there will be subtracted from the value of H. Whatever answer we get from there, that will be assigned to the L. Note, in the RHS, that is the arithmetic expression, ultimately we generate a single value, and that value is written into the variable or stored in a variable that is in the LHS side. And if we print the value of a variable in the LHS side, after the expression statement, that is after the assignment statement, we will get the value that is stored in the A, that is the result of the operation on the RHS of the assignment statement. I hope it's clear. Now, there are certain other concepts related to operators, like if the operator is a nary operator or binary operator or ternary operator. By that we mean the number of the operands on which the operator operates. We can say that operator is nary or binary or ternary. If the operator acts on the single operand, we call it as a nary operator. If the operator acts on two operands, then we call it as a binary operator. And if the operator acts on three operands, we call it as a ternary operator. Though in mathematics we don't have a ternary operator, but in C we have one operator called as conditional operator that acts as a ternary operator. Now, if the operator is a nary operator, what happens? It acts on a single operand. For example, in this case, I am writing nary minus before C, and this minus will act on the single operator and change its sign of its value, and that value will be stored in B. But the plus is a binary operator because it needs two operands for performing the operation. Similarly, there is a nary plus also, or there is a binary minus also. But what I want to make you clear here is that operator can act on a single operand, or it can act on the two operands. Then we can say operator is a nary operator or it's a binary operator. Now, operators are of different types based on the function. So some operators are called as arithmetic operators because they are used for arithmetic operations. There are operators called as relational operators. There are operators called as logical operators. We have started using some of the arithmetic operators, and in a program where we find the largest of the two numbers or three numbers, we used what we call as relational operator and a logical operator. So operators are of many types. I'll be talking about that in a separate lecture. Just giving you the concept. So operator can be classified based on the function or based on the number of operands it acts on. Based on the number of operands it acts on, operator can be nary, binary or ternary. Based on the function, operator can be relational, arithmetic operator, logical operator, etc., etc. We have to see those. Now, so far as the arithmetic expressions are concerned, there are three important concepts, and if these concepts are not clear, you will never understand the assignment statements and their nature. These three concepts are associativity, precedence, and typecasting. I'll take lectures on this. They will need separate lectures, but I am putting these terms in your mind so that you read about these terms, and we can what you call later on find it more interesting once we talk on these topics. Now, today I am going to talk about one typical assignment statement, and then I'll be showing to you how we execute the C program stepwise, and how we debug the program, or how we watch our variables in a C program so that we can know what is happening with our variables. This is a most important concept so far as the what you call program execution is concerned, and so far as understanding the programming logic is concerned. Now, we know that assignment statement has the what you call the syntax variable equal to expression. Now, if I have another statement that follows the same format as variable equal to expression, that is variable equal to variable plus 2. Here we should have a terminator. So I can say variable equal to variable plus 2. I call this as a typical assignment statement because in this case I have written variable on LHS side and same variable on the RHS side, and I am adding a constant 2 to the value of a variable. I'll be explaining this with an example, then we'll see it practically what I mean. It's a very interesting expression where you have got a same variable on the LHS side and RHS side of the expression. We can have hundreds of programs based on this simple statement, and this is nothing but an assignment statement where it has got a arithmetic expression on RHS side and variable on the left hand side. But the speciality in this expression, what I am discussing right now, is that there is a same variable on LHS side and RHS side of the assignment statement. Now suppose I declare a variable a. This is an example that will make you understand what I mean by this statement. I declare a variable a, then I assign a value 1 to a, then I write a statement a is equal to a plus 2. The first one is a declarative statement, second one is an assignment statement, third one is also assignment statement, and fourth one is an assignment statement. The indication that the statement is assignment, that it has an equality operator and it has got a, on the left hand side it has got a variable, and RHS side it has got a expression or a constant. So this is the arithmetic expression and this is the arithmetic expression, and here we have a constant. Right. So let us see what the compiler will do once it gets these statements in the order, since the statements are executed one by one. Once the computer executes the first statement, or the CPU executes the first statement, it understands that it has to allocate a memory and name that memory as A. Now second statement makes it do or put a value 1 into A. This is what I have shown here. In the declarative statement, since I am not giving value initially, that is I am not doing initialization at the point of declaration. Yesterday I uploaded a video in which I am showing that how we do initialization at the point of declaration, and I have discussed in detail what is the syntax of the declarative statement. If you don't understand right now, you should see that video also. Now if I say int A, I am not initializing any value to A. It will be having a value that will be given by the machine initially. This I have explained how that value comes, but that value is called as a junk value. In the second statement, we see the change in this memory location which is named A, that is I store a value 1 in it right here. Now let us try to understand this statement, because my today's lecture will focus on this statement only, these types of statements, that is A is equal to A plus 2. Now in the LHS we have A, in the RHS we have A. So how is this statement handled in C? First, as I told you, RHS will be computed, and whatever answer you get in RHS, that will be assigned to the A. Now in order to compute the RHS, I should know what is the current value of the A, and current value of A is 1, because after this statement I am using this statement. So the current value of A is 1. Once the current value of A is 1, then 1 is added to the 2, that 2 becomes 3, 2 plus 1 becomes 3, and that value is stored in the A. As I told you earlier, variable can hold only one value at a point of time, and by using statements you can change those values, or using input output statements or assignment statements, these changes can be made. Now here I have made a change in the value of A. What I have done, I have added 2 to the previous value of A, and now my current value that will be stored in A will be 3. Now next, again I have A is equal to A plus 2, but which value it will use? Will it use 1? No, because in the next statement I am making a change in A, and that changes A has become a 3 now. So in this statement I will be using now 3 as the value of A, or CPU will be using 3 as the value of A. So 3 plus 2 is 5. These are the changes that are reflected in A, and if we print use a statement to print the value of A, just after int A you will get junk value here, and if you print after this statement, that is step 2, you will get value of A as 1. If you print after step 3, you will get the value of A as 3, and if you print after step 4, you get the value of A as 5. As you see that A is changing with time during the execution, so we call as variable. It is a memory location that is modified during execution of the program. Now I'll be handling two different examples after this, and or I'll show you those examples also, and then we can go to the compiler and see, because I'm using the same type of statement here also. Now in this example I am declaring a term as and initializing its value as 0. So previous value of term is now 0. Once I am at this step, new value is also 0, then term is equal to term plus 2. Now this is the previous value, that is the previous value, that is 0, and to this I am adding 2, so the new value becomes 2. Now so this is this value, that is the new value, is the previous value for the next statement. So in this what you call statement, 2 is the previous value of the term, and another 2 is added to it, and new value becomes 4. So 2 is added to the 4, and 4 becomes 6. 6 is added with 2 again, and I get a 8, and so on and so forth. So the previous value is incremented by 2, or 2 is added to the previous value. Initially I started with 0 value, then I added 2 to it, I got 2, then I added 2 more to the previous value, and then I got 4, because previous value here at this step is 2, then the previous value at this step is 4, I add 2 to it, it becomes 6, then previous value in up to this step is 6, so I add 2 to it, I get 8, so on and so forth. These are the changes. If you see, these numbers are even numbers, so this program can be used to print the even numbers. Next example, this is the example with the difference from the first example, that in the first example I used what you call addition operation, but in this example I use a multiplication operation. Yes, and in the previous example the term was given an initial value of 0, and here the mul is given initial value of 1, because if I give 0 value here, the first multiplication will make the answer as 0, and that 0 will be continued, and for all the assignment statements I'll be having mul equal to 0. No, I don't want that. What is my purpose? I want to print here the powers of 2. So what I do, I use the previous value as 1, I multiply 2 to it, so I get 2. Now to the previous value 2, I add again multiply 2 to it, I get 4. So I keep on multiplying 2 to the previous values, and I generate a new value. This is somewhat power series of 2, that is 2 raised power 1, 2 raised power 2, 2 raised power 3, 2 raised power 4, 2 raised power 5, 2 raised power 6, so on and so forth. I hope you have understood. But the beauty of both these programs is that I am using the same variable on the left hand side and the right hand side. I hope this is clear. Very interesting examples. Now let us go to the compiler and check it out, what I want to. Here I have a program in which I will change. I have declared a variable a, and I have assigned now value 7 to the a. Then I say suppose a is equal to a plus 9. Then I say a is equal to a plus 2. Then a is equal to a plus 1. Now I will execute this program step by step. Step by step means I will not be compiling the program and then running it, but I will be executing the program statement by statement. What you have to do in case of turbo assembler, you have to press the F7 key, and once I press the F7 key, your main gets highlighted with this color. Now I go to the next step by pressing F7 again. See, if I want to see what is happening in A, there are two methods of that. Either I print the value of A after every step and I know what are the changes that are happening in A, or I go into this what you call step by step mode, then I debug, use a debug option, and I watch, then I use a watches option, then I say add watch. So first I go to debug, then I say watch, then I say add watch. But you should be executing your program stepwise by pressing the F7. Now once I add watch A, I will add A, and if you see here, 1 second, A is being shown the value 646. Why this 646? Because int A, you have Programmer has declared the A, but he has not given any value to A, so it has got a junk value. This 646 that is shown here in the watch window is the value of A right now. Now after this statement, once A is equal to 7, you will see there will be the change. I have to press F7 again. Now you see after this statement, A is now 7. Now in this statement, what I am doing, I am using the value of A again in the RHS, and I am adding 9 to it. Then I am assigning that value to A, but the previous value of the A is 7. Okay, now A is a single memory location and it can hold only one value at a point of time. Initially it had a junk value, then I assigned the value of 7. This is indicated here because in the watch window A's value is shown as 7. By using this, you can watch all the variables of your program and you can see the changes that are happening in those variables, and you can understand whether your programming logic is right or not, whether you are arriving at the proper outputs or not. This will also show you the control flow of the program. That is how the statements are being executed. Now initially the first statement was executed, now second step is being executed, now the third step is being executed. Once I press F7, you see again the value of A has changed to 16 because previous value was 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. Now in the next statement I will be using the current value of A, and this is the form. All these forms I have written in the statement what I called as a typical form. Typical form means in a LHS and RHS I have the same variable A. You can watch any variable through this. It's not necessarily that we have the statements of this form. Any statements of any form where you are using the variables and you are making the changes to the variables, you will be seeing after every step what are the changes in the variable. Now previous value of the A is 16, again it becomes 18 now. Then again 1 is added and it becomes a 19. Then again 2 is added and it becomes 21. And you see we reach to the last curly brace of the main. After this program is terminated. So in this way you can execute the program in a stepwise manner. That is, you can first execute the first statement, then second statement and third statement, and you can watch what is happening with your variables. Okay, once you compile the program and then run it, you don't know how the statements are being executed. You don't know the control flow. You have now clearly observed that once we execute the statements, they are not executed simultaneously. They are executed one by one. Starting with the first statement of the main, I am again pressing the F7. Now see here, A is again having the junk value. Again the change because I am assigning the 7. Now 7 is added with 9 because previous value of A was 7, so it becomes 16. This is how the changes will take place in a variable till you complete all the statements and you arrive at the end of the main, and your program terminates after the main. This makes us understand also that our program execution always begins at the main, and our program execution always ends at the main. As I told you, you should remember now that main is a function. Main is a function. Every C program should have one main function. The name of the function is main. It is a special function because the program execution always starts at the main and the program terminates from the main only. Okay, now let us do the example 1, in which let me show you that example again. That is this example 1, that is this example, in which I am initializing term as 0, then I am making changes to the term, and I am saying new term is always equal to previous term plus 2. Okay, I say int term equal to 0, then I say term is equal to term plus 2. Then I have to use the same statement again, term is equal to term plus 2. Term is equal to term plus 2. Suppose I generate 5 terms of this series, that is even series. this is my last term. Now I use trace mode again, and I will watch debug. First you have to go into the trace mode, you have to press the F7, then this highlight should come, then you should add watch. And if you have previously added the watch for the variable, you need not add the watch for this again. Now I use a watch for term. Okay. Now initially it is showing undefined symbol term because we are at the first step of the main, we are at the entry point, and this statement, declarative statement, has not been executed. Once it is executed, you see the term has the initial value of 646. Now once it is 646, now I will assign the 0 value to the term, or I have assigned the 0 value to the term. You will see that the term will change after this statement. Okay, it is changed to 0. Now this is an undefined symbol, I can remove it because a is not there. Then term is equal to term plus 2. Now term becomes 2 because previous value of the term was 0. Then again 4, 6, 8 and 10. See, I have generated the terms in the order 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. This happens to be the even series. The first even number is 2, next even number is 4, and next even number is 6, then 8, then 10. Okay, 8 and 10. And you have seen that term changes like that. But one important observation that I want you to make here is that I am using the same statement again and again. That is, this statement is being repeated again and again. You should note this because this will make me or this will help me in making you understand that how iterative statements are being executed and what is their significance and importance. Once again I repeat, in this program for generating the first 5 terms or first 5 even numbers, you see what is the statement for generating the first even number, that is 2. The same statement is used for generating the second. Same assignment statements are repeated again and again. And if I have to generate 1000 terms, I have to write this assignment statement 1000 times. I think it's clear now. Now let us go to the second example where I generated the powers of 2. In that example, what I did, I used the initial value. I used a variable called mul. I assigned the value 1 to it. Now I'll delete this statement because I don't need this statement now. I explained it. Now I have got mul equal to mul into, that is asterisk here, 2. As I told you, multiplication is represented with asterisk. Mul into, mul is equal to mul into 2. Mul is equal to mul into 2. Mul into 2. Again, here I am using a triple statement because on the left hand side and RHS of this assignment statement, I have got a same variable, that is mul. I have taken this example of this pattern again. In the first example, the term was repeating on LH side and RH side, but in this example, I am repeating the mul. I am giving the initial value 1 to the mul, and let me see and watch this. Now term will be defined as will be shown as a undefined symbol in a watch window. Again, how do I watch or how do I run the program in stepwise mode? First you have to write the program. It should be free of errors. Yes, there should be no syntax errors in the program. Then you can press F7. Main will be highlighted. Then you can see mul. If you want to see what is the value of mul, you go to the debug. Then you go to the watches. Then you say add watch, and then you give the name of the variable as mul because I have named the. Now you see the value of mul is shown as a junk value. After this statement, that is the first statement, F7, you say mul is 1 now because I have assigned the value. In the next statement, it becomes 2 because 1 into 2 is 2. In the next statement, the previous value of mul is used, that is 2, and that 2 into 2 is 4. Now the mul will become 4. In this statement, the previous value of the mul is used, that is 4. Now 4 into 2 is again 8. and then 8 into 2 is 16. These are the powers of 2. Now in this program I can generate the powers of 2, that is the first power, second power. Now if I want to generate 100 powers of the 2, I have to write this statement 100 times, and if I want to do it 1000 times, I have to do it 1000 times. So since the statement is being repeated, is there a way of executing a statement or set of statements, if they are repeated again and again, without rewriting them? That is, was there a way where I could say that I want to execute the statement number this 4 times? Or was there a way, as in previous example for term, where I can write I want to execute this statement, because the statement is same. Here the statement that is same as mul is equal to mul into ru. Is there any way available in C where I can write that I have to execute this statement 10 times, 11 times, or whatever times I want it? Yes, there is a way. And this way it is helpful to programmer. Why? Because he does not have to write the repetitive statement again and again. And once it is 1000 lines of code or 10,000 lines of code, you will have to repeat the statement 10,000 times. There you can appreciate the worth of that statement. That will make it possible to execute a statement or set of statements again and again without rewriting them. And how do we specify the what you call number of times we want to execute this statement, or a statement that is being repeated again and again? That we'll see in the next slide, and then I'll show you it practically also. Let us see. So next we talk about iterative statement or loops. I told you now why we are having iterative statements or loops. We are having iterative statements or loops because we want to execute set of statements or a statement again and again. Why? Otherwise you'll have to write it as many times as you want to execute it. That consumes a lot of what you call time and a lot of effort of the programmer. In order to relieve the programmer from that effort, we have a statement called as iterative statement or loops. Now these are again what you call as control statements, which are used to alter the control flow of program. Normal control flow of the program is sequential, but in conditional statements we have seen the normal control flow is altered. That is, a statement may be executed or it may be skipped based on the condition of the conditional statement, whether that condition is true or false. Now let us see what are iterative statements or loops. Iterative statements or loops can be defined as the programming constructs that can be used to execute the set of statements again and again. Now we have three types of loops available in C. One is a for loop, one is a while loop, and one is a do while loop. I will take these loops separately, but I'll start with the simplest loop, and if you understand this loop, you can understand the other two loops also very well. So I'll take while loop. I will give you the syntax of the loop. The syntax of the loop says that you have to give a keyword while, you cannot change it. While you have to write, then you have to write the condition in the braces, and then you have to write two braces that indicate the body of the loop, and this body of loop, whatever statements you write in the body of loop, they will be executed again and again, the number of times you want the statements to get executed. So that is to be specified by the programmer. Now this loop will execute till the condition is true. That is, otherwise if the condition never gets false, the loop will always execute, and such loops are called as infinite loops. They don't terminate. Now in order to make the loop terminate, there should be condition, and that condition should be formulated in such a way that it becomes false. So right now we remember while loop executes till the condition is true. Condition can be formed same way as we did in a conditional statements using the relational operators. Now every loop has three important parts. The three important parts are initialization of a loop variable. Yes, before this I will have to explain what I call as a loop variable. Loop variable is a variable on which I base the condition of a loop. Okay, you will see the variable or a memory location on which I base the condition of the loop, and once that condition is false, so we need to check the condition. Till the condition is true, till the condition is false. If the condition is true, the loop body is executed, and if the condition is false, loop body is not executed. We move to the next statement after the loop. So the important what you call condition for executing a loop is that, or body of a loop is that the condition should be true. Now, as I told you, loop has three parts. One is called initialization of a loop variable. Second is called check condition, that we check here at the top of the loop on the loop variable. Then we have to do incrementation of the loop variable, that is change the value of a loop variable such that the condition becomes false. And once the condition becomes false, the loop terminates. Otherwise, the loop will be executed infinite number of times. I hope it's clear now. Now we can do it in a compiler. To write a program for loops, you can write this program. I will call a variable that I'll use to control my loops as loop var. I put the initial value of loop var as 1. Okay, this is called as a initialization of the loop variable. As I told you, there are three steps for the there are three parts for every loop. One is the initialization of the loop variable, second is the condition check, and third is the incrementation of a loop variable. So this is the initialization part, where you give the initial value to the loop variable. That is the variable that controls the loop. Okay, so my loop variable is an integer variable, and I am giving an initial value 1 to it. Now I write a loop while loop var is greater than or equal to. Now for greater than or equal to, you have to use two symbols, greater than or equal to. What? Suppose 3. Then there's a body of loop that should be enclosed within two curly braces. Whatever statements I write within these two curly braces, immediately following the loop, these statements will be executed again and again. I am showing you the simplest form of the loop, even though there are variations. We will discuss those variations separately, but the main logic is like this, and if you understand this logic, you can write any loop. So this is the basic loop, and this is the loop. The way I show you how to write this loop, you can write the other loops also in the same fashion. First, I told you there is a loop variable which controls the condition, which on which the condition is based. So loop variable greater than or equal to 3. What's the value of a loop variable? 1. Is 1 greater than or equal to 3? Yes, 1 is greater than 3. So if greater than or equal to means that loop variable should be either greater than this value, but we have to check one of the two conditions, and if one of the two conditions is satisfied, then the condition is said to be true. This depends on the loop variable, what value it is holding at that point of time. Now for my case, since I have initialized the loop variable as 1, I say while loop variable is greater than or equal to 3, definitely initial first step, at the first step of the loop variable is 1. Now within the while, I will write a printf statement. I say hello. So this hello will be printed till the loop condition is true. Next, what I do in the body of loop, I will say loop var is equal to loop var plus 1. Now, as I told you, every loop has got three parts. One is the initialization part, second is the condition part on the loop variable, and third is the incrementation of part of the loop variable. Whenever you write the loops, you should check that these three parts are present or not. Now the first part is present, that is initialization is present, and it is outside the loop, that is this statement is outside the loop, that is outside the loop body. Okay. Now the second part is condition of the loop, that is within that is the part of the loop, that is the part of the loop. Now if the condition is true, the loop body is condition is checked, and if the condition is true, loop body is executed, and if the condition is false, loop body is terminated. Let me write another statement outside the loop bodies to make you understand which statements are executed by the loop. Okay, so this message outside loop should come when the loop is terminated. Okay, I told you in the loop you can specify the number of times you want to execute a statement or set of statements. So this is my statement that I want to execute, and I want to see here how many times it will execute. I will write a CLR here. Now let me trace this program or execute it in a stepwise step. I'll say debug watches, add watch, and I will watch my loop var. I'll see what are the changes that are being proved. Initially it will show loop var as undefined because I'm not executing the program. Once I start the program execution, you will see that loop var's value will be displayed in the watch window. Once I press F7 here, there are errors. I told you that your program should be free of errors once you execute it in the trace mode. Yes, I have found the error. So I have an error here. I have written the print. I should have written print f, because print is not the name of the function. Name of the function is printf. Okay, I told you if you don't follow the syntax you will get errors. Now I will again go into the trace mode, and now this time it was possible to go into the trace mode since we are doing it practically. So this way you will learn what are the different types of errors and how to go use the trace mode in a proper way. Now I have started my execution from the main. I go to the first step of the program, that is int loop var is equal to 1. Now I have a message window here. I want to see the watch window. I should close this message window. Okay, now loop variable is having the junk value 852. Once I execute this statement, now loop variable becomes 1 because I am giving the value of 1. Now let us see Alt F5. User screen has got some something written there. Now I have not executed the CLR SCR yet because it is highlighted. Once the highlight moves down, then only the statement is executed. Now if I put F7, the CLR SCR will be executed. What does the CLR SCR do? It clears the user screen. Let me see if the user screen has been cleared. Alt F5, yes, it's cleared. So this step has been executed. Now loop variable is 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 3. Is 1 greater than or equal to 3? No, the condition is false. So loop statements are not executed. I move out of the loop, and the statement that is executed is printf outside the loop. So loop body is not executed at all. This way you understood that once the loop condition, if at the very first step it is false, loop won't be executed. That is, this statement or any statement that is within the two curly braces will not be executed. What is the proof for that? Alt F5. You see outside the loop message came, but the hello did not come. Why? Because the condition was false. Let me try to see how to make this condition true. I can say now, while my loop variable is greater than or equal to, instead of that I'll say less than or equal to 3. Now I have changed the condition. Now in this case, now condition is true because 1 is less than or equal to 3. One of the conditions is true. 1 is less than 3. Okay, I hope I have not made a mistake in explaining the previous statement. Then you should rectify, because now we do things practically and we know our errors. In this case, now in this case the condition is true because I have showed loop variable less than or equal to 3. Okay, now loop variable again I am running it next time in the stepwise mode. Loop variable is 1, then I am clearing the screen. Now 1 is less than or equal to 3. This condition happens to be true. Now hello, loop body is executed, loop variable is updated. It was initially 1. Once after this statement it becomes 2. Is 2 less than or equal to 3? Yes, 2 is less than 3. As I told you, in this condition you have to check whether the value you are comparing with the RHS is less than or equal to. So 2 is less than or equal to 3. Okay, then again the hello is printed. Let us see the previous hello first. You have got a single hello. Again, how many you have? Again hello has been printed. Now loop variable again becomes 3. Is 3 less than or equal to 3? Yes, 3 is equal to 3. Okay, so condition is still true. The loop body is executed once, then again loop variable is created. Now loop variable is 4. The condition is false. Loop is terminated. So loop body is not executed. Let us see how many times the loop message came. Message came 3 times. Okay, now we are outside the loop. This helps us in understanding the life cycle of the loop. So what happens during the execution of the loop? Initially the loop variable is initialized outside the loop. That's the first step. Then the condition is checked on the loop variable, and if the condition is true, loop body is executed, and if the condition is false, the control is immediately transferred to the statement that was after the loop, that is this statement. Now if the condition is true, then the loop body is executed, and once the loop body is executed, the loop variable is incremented. This is the third part of the loop. And if you don't increment the loop variable will always, suppose the condition was true, it will always remain true, loop will not be terminated, because if I don't change this loop variable or increment this loop variable, it will always remain less than or equal to 3, and my loop will never be terminated. Such loops are called as infinite loops, and you should be aware about those loops, and they are useful as well. It's not that they are always harmful, they are useful as well. There are so many applications that won't run if there are infinite loops, there are not infinite loops in them. Okay, now so in the loop cycle, life cycle of the loop, we have seen first part was initialization, second part was checking the condition, and if the condition is true, the loop body is executed, and if the condition is false, control is transferred out of the loop. Now in this example, or in the loops you have seen, the control is again transferred to the back of the loop, and this loop, according to its logic, this loop will be executed thrice. Loop variable is equal to loop var plus 1. Now let us implement the first example, in which the first term was 0, term was 0. Then what I did, this loop will be, instead of printf, I will generate the term. This statement was repeated again and again, plus 2. That's for the even series, if you remember. Now let us execute the loop. Now this statement will be executed thrice, because according to the logic of the loop, loop variable becomes false after the loop var is incremented 4 times. 4th time it becomes false. Now see here, and see, yes, because I have changed the program. What's the error now? Loop var. Okay. I have to use here loop var. I told you variable should be declared before it's used, and initial value I should give 1, otherwise it will be a problem. And by using watch, I can know that also, that what is happening with my loop var. Now I can watch again. What is happening with what you call as term. Now see here, the term is junk, loop var is junk. Okay, after this statement, term is 0, loop var is 1. Okay, then screen is cleared. You can see alt Fi and screen is cleared. Now you go to loop var is less than or equal to 3. Okay, your term becomes now 2. Okay, the first even number is generated, the second even number is generated, third even number is generated, and after this the condition becomes false. Third number is generated, that is 6 will be generated, 2, 4 and 6. Then once the next, we come out of the loop. Okay, now if you want to execute the same loop 10 times, you have to simply change this condition and write here 10, because loop variable will be incremented one by one until it, since the condition will be true for 10 cases. That is when loop variable is 1, when loop variable is 2, when loop variable is 3. When loop variable is 1, loop body is executed. Executing the body of the loop once is called as a pass of a loop. So how many passes are in this loop? Right now, if I make this as a 10, I'll have 10 passes. Okay, I'll say modified because I've changed. Now this program will now generate 10 even numbers. The same statement will be executed 10 times. See, it is generating the numbers because the condition is not getting false. Loop variable is 9, loop variable is 10. So again the condition is true. Loop variable is 11, condition is false, we move out of the loop. So how many times we executed this loop? We have executed it 10 times. If we change the condition, we can do it 1 to n times. Simply change the constant here. This is the simplest way of using the loop. Now instead of using a constant here, we can use a variable also, but that will show in the next class of the loop. But I think I have made it loops clear, especially while loop. So while loop, the condition is checked at the top, and that since the condition is checked at the top, there are loops where the condition will be checked as bottom. In case of the loops where the condition is just checked at the top, such loops are called as top tested loop or entry controlled loops. Okay, and the loops where the condition will be checked afterwards, that's after the body of loops, such loops will be called as exit control loops or post tested loops. Okay, or bottom tested loops. Now every time the loop body is executed, we say we have the pass of a loop. So how many passes that loop will have will be determined by the condition of the loop. Till the condition is true, the pass is executed, and then again the condition is checked. So in the summary, I can tell you loops have got three important parts. First is initialization, that is outside the loop. Then we have got checking the condition, and then we have got incrementation. All these three parts are done on the loop variable, that is the variable that controls the loop. Once the loop is executed, we come to the next statement after the loop. The loop terminates when the loop condition becomes false. Okay, so this was something about while loop. Now some word about structured programming. Structured programming is a programming approach where we have got three types of structures in the programming language, that is sequence, selection, and iteration or repetition. Sequence means the steps will be executed one by one. Selection means there will be conditional statements, and iteration means there will be loops. Those programming languages which support these three features, that is sequence, selection, and iteration, are called as structured programming languages. Since in C we have got these three control structures, therefore we call C as structured programming languages. Any language that supports these three features will be called as structured programming language. I hope you have understood the today's lecture. We will have to learn more about the loops in the coming lectures. This was just a prelims. I hope you have a nice time. Take your pen and pencil and work out the examples that I have shown today. Okay, thank you.